This is your need to know. This is your need to know.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going on a journey to explore human evolution.
Wow.
We'll be using a bunch of Wikipedia articles about all sorts of species like Homo and Australopithecus,
Okay.
to kind of trace our lineage back
Yeah.
millions of years and really get to the bottom of what it means to be human.
That sounds incredible.
Get ready for some pretty cool facts and maybe some unexpected things along the way.
Yeah, I think what's really amazing about this deep dive is that, it's not just ancient history we're talking about. It's really like the root of our existence,
Exactly.
And like each step we take back in time reveals a little bit more about who we are today.
Exactly. So buckle up because we're going on an epic adventure through time,
I love it.
starting with the very foundations of the human family tree.
Okay, so this journey begins millions of years ago,
Yeah.
long before, skyscrapers and smartphones or even written language.
Right.
We're going back to a time when our ancestors were just beginning to walk upright
Wow.
and explore the world beyond the trees.
Okay, so let's set the stage.
Sure.
How do scientists even begin to piece together this ancient history?
Right.
I mean, we're talking about events that happened millions of years ago.
Yeah.
We don't have time machines or eyewitnesses.
You're right. It's a bit like detective work, really.
Okay.
Scientists use a combination of fossil evidence, DNA analysis, and archaeological findings to reconstruct the puzzle of human evolution.
Okay.
So they analyze fossilized bones and teeth to understand the anatomy
Mhm.
and physical characteristics of our ancestors.
Right.
They compare DNA from modern humans to that of ancient hominins,
Okay.
and even to our closest living relatives like chimpanzees and bonobos.
Wow.
To trace genetic lineages and estimate divergence times.
That's incredible.
And then they carefully excavate and study artifacts like tools and settlements to get little glimpses into the lives and cultures of these ancient humans.
It sounds like a massive collaborative effort.
It
The
is.
scientists from all these different fields working together to uncover these secrets of our past.
Precisely. And it's a real testament to human curiosity
Yeah.
and our desire to understand, our place in the grand scheme of things.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's start meeting some of our ancient relatives.
Okay. Sounds good.
Our first stop takes us to the Australopithecines,
Okay.
this group of hominins that lived in Africa millions of years ago.
Yeah. These were fascinating creatures.
Okay.
They walked upright, but they still had features that suggest they may have been comfortable in the trees.
Interesting.
They had smaller brains than later hominins,
Oh.
but they were already showing signs of tool use and social behavior.
Let's focus on two specific species.
Okay.
Australopithecus africanus and Australopithecus sediba.
Sure.
I've heard some interesting things about them.
Absolutely. Australopithecus africanus was one of the first Australopithecines to be discovered,
Wow.
and its discovery really shook up the scientific world.
I bet.
It must have been quite a shock to find these, ancient ape-like creatures that walked upright. You can say that again. The first Australopithecus africanus fossil, a skull nicknamed the Tongue Child, was discovered in South Africa in 1924.
Okay.
And this discovery really challenged the prevailing idea that human evolution had occurred primarily outside of Africa
Interesting.
and really sparked decades of debate about our origins.
So what did Australopithecus africanus look like?
Yeah.
Were they mini versions of us or something completely different?
Well, imagine a creature a bit shorter than the average modern human,
Okay.
with kind of a mix of ape-like and human-like features.
Okay.
They had a relatively small brain case, a prognathic face, meaning it jutted forward, and long arms compared to their legs, which suggests they may have still spent some time in trees.
A hybrid walker climber.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So did they walk upright all the time, or were they still comfortable swinging from branches?
Yeah. Were they?
Well, that's a question that has sparked a lot of debate among scientists. While their leg bones clearly show adaptations for bipedal locomotion, meaning walking on two legs,
Okay.
there are also features in their skeletons like a slightly curved finger bone and the angle of the tibia that suggests they might have still been adept at climbing.
Interesting.
So perhaps they weren't fully committed to life on the ground just yet.
So a bit of a transitional species.
Yeah.
straddling the world of trees in the open savanna.
Exactly.
Okay, what about their diet?
Sure.
Were they munching on leaves and fruits or something a bit more substantial?
Their teeth and jaws suggest they were primarily plant eaters,
Okay.
enjoying a diet of fruits, leaves, and other vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows, they might have scavenged for meat occasionally as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's move on to Australopithecus sediba,
All right.
a species that lived a bit later, around 2 million years ago.
Okay.
What makes them stand out from the crowd?
Well, Australopithecus sediba is a relative newcomer to the human family tree.
Interesting.
They were discovered in South Africa in 2008.
Wow.
And their fossils have provided some fascinating insights into our evolutionary history.
What kind of insights spill the tea?
Well, for one thing, Australopithecus sediba had a unique combination of features.
Okay.
They had a small brain, like earlier Australopithecines,
Okay.
but their hands and feet showed adaptations for both climbing and precise manipulation,
Mhm.
which are traits associated with later hominids,
Great.
including our own genus Homo.
Wow.
So some scientists even believe that Australopithecus sediba could be a direct ancestor to the Homo lineage.
So they might be a crucial link
Exactly.
between the Australopithecines and our own branch of the family tree.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's incredible. Anything else that makes them special?
One of the most striking discoveries about Australopithecus sediba was that one of the juvenile specimens, known as MH1, had a bone tumor.
A bone tumor.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
It's the earliest diagnosed case of cancer in a hominin.
Oh, wow.
And it really reminds us that these ancient creatures were just as susceptible to disease and injury as we are today.
It's a powerful reminder of the shared fragility of life
Yeah.
across millions of years.
Yeah, across millions of years.
What about their environment? What kind of world did they live in?
Well, analysis of fossilized pollen and plant remains found with their skeletons
Okay.
suggests they lived in a more wooded environment than Australopithecus africanus.
Interesting.
Perhaps a mosaic of woodland and grassland.
Okay.
And interestingly, their fossilized poop, or coprolites,
Oh, fun.
revealed that they ate a variety of plants, including bark and grasses,
Mm.
which suggests they had a more diverse diet than some of their predecessors.
The Australopithecus sediba, a species with a fascinating mix of primitive and advanced features,
Yeah.
living in a mosaic environment and perhaps even representing a direct link to our own genus Homo.
Right.
It sounds like we're starting to get a clearer picture of how our ancestors transitioned from tree-dwelling primates to ground-dwelling hominins.
You're right. We're starting to see those crucial steps that paved the way for the emergence of our own genus Homo. And that's where our journey will continue
Okay.
as we explore the rise of these larger-brained, tool-wielding hominins who ventured out of Africa and into the wider world.
Okay, I can't wait. Stay tuned, folks, because things are about to get even more fascinating as we delve deeper into the story of human evolution.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
This is your need to know. This is your need to know. This is your need to know. This is your need to know.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We just explored the world of the Australopithecines.
Yeah.
Those fascinating creatures who took the first steps toward becoming human.
Right.
Now get ready for a truly pivotal chapter in our evolutionary journey.
Okay.
The rise of the genus Homo.
This is where things get really exciting.
Okay.
The emergence of Homo marks a significant shift
Okay.
in brain size tool use and social complexity.
Right.
We're going to meet some of the most iconic species in our lineage.
Okay.
Homo erectus, Homo floresiensis,
Right.
and of course our close relatives, the Neanderthals.
Okay. I'm ready for some serious brain power.
All right, let's do it.
Let's start with Homo erectus. I've always been fascinated by their incredible journey out of Africa.
Homo erectus was a true pioneer,
Yeah.
the first hominin to venture out of Africa
Wow.
and spread across Asia and parts of Europe.
Okay.
They lived from about 1.8 million to 117,000 years ago,
Oh.
making them one of the longest-lasting species in our lineage.
Talk about an epic adventure.
Oh, right?
What were they like? Were they starting to look more like us?
Imagine a hominin with a larger brain case than the Australopithecines,
Okay.
a more prominent brow ridge,
Hmm.
and a flatter face.
Okay.
They were also taller and more slender.
Okay.
built for long-distance walking and running.
So they were starting to resemble modern humans in some ways.
Yeah.
What about their behavior? Were they using tools,
Yes.
controlling fire?
Homo erectus was a skilled toolmaker,
Okay.
creating hand axes and other tools that were more sophisticated
Right.
than those of their predecessors.
Wow.
And perhaps most importantly, there's strong evidence that they were using fire.
Ah, the power of fire.
Right.
I've heard that cooking played a major role in human evolution,
Yeah.
making food easier to digest and providing more energy for our growing brains.
That's a theory championed by the anthropologist Richard Wrangham.
Okay.
He argues that cooking was a key adaptation that allowed Homo erectus to thrive and spread across the globe.
So were they gathering around campfires, sharing stories and roasted meat?
Maybe.
Were they using language?
That's a question that has sparked a lot of debate.
I bet.
While there's no direct evidence of spoken language in Homo erectus,
Okay.
some scientists believe that their complex social structures and tool-making abilities
Right.
suggest they may have had some form of communication that was more advanced than simple gestures and calls.
A proto-language, perhaps.
Exactly.
It's amazing to think about those early attempts at communication.
It is.
The very beginnings of what would eventually evolve
Yeah,
into the rich and complex languages we use today.
it truly is. Now, while Homo erectus was spreading across continents,
Yeah.
a very different kind of human was evolving
Okay.
on a remote island in Indonesia,
Okay.
Homo floresiensis.
Ah, yes. The hobbits.
Yes.
I've always been intrigued by them.
Yeah,
They were incredibly small.
remarkably so.
Yeah.
The most complete skeleton, found nicknamed Flo,
Okay.
stood just over a meter tall,
Wow.
about the size of a modern human child.
That's tiny.
They also had relatively small brains
Okay.
and a unique combination of primitive and modern features.
What's the deal with their small stature?
Yeah.
Was it an adaptation to their island environment?
That's the most likely explanation.
Clear.
Island dwarfism, as it's called,
Okay.
is a phenomenon where species tend to evolve smaller body sizes
Okay.
on islands with limited resources.
Right.
It's like nature's way of saying less is more when food is scarce.
Makes sense. But here's the thing that blows my mind.
What's that?
Homo floresiensis lived until about 50,000 years ago.
Right.
That means they were around at the same time as modern humans.
Isn't that incredible? It challenges our assumptions about the linearity of human evolution.
Right.
And it raises all sorts of questions about how they interacted with other human species, if they did at all.
So another evolutionary puzzle.
Right.
But that's what makes this so fascinating, right?
Absolutely.
There's always more to uncover, more mysteries to solve.
Exactly. And speaking of mysteries,
Okay.
let's move on to another fascinating member of our family tree.
Okay.
Homo neanderthalensis, better known as the Neanderthals.
The Neanderthals. Okay, these guys are like the celebrities of human evolution.
They are.
We've all heard about them, or close relatives who lived in Europe and Asia
Right.
for hundreds of thousands of years
Yeah,
before mysteriously disappearing.
they truly are iconic.
Yeah.
And the more we learn about them,
Yeah.
the more complex and intriguing they become.
So what were they really like? Were they the brutish cavemen they're often portrayed to be?
Not at all.
Okay.
Neanderthals were very intelligent and adaptable.
Yeah.
They had larger brains than modern humans on average.
Oh.
And they developed sophisticated tool-making techniques known as Mousterian technology.
Okay.
They hunted large game-controlled fire and even cared for their sick and injured.
Wow, that's a far cry from the stereotypical caveman image.
I know.
What about their culture? Did they have any rituals or art?
There's evidence that Neanderthals intentionally buried their dead,
Okay.
sometimes with symbolic objects.
Interesting.
And some researchers believe that certain cave paintings and markings
Okay.
could be early forms of Neanderthal art,
Wow.
though that's still being debated.
So they were capable of abstract thought and symbolism?
The evidence certainly points in that direction.
Yeah.
And perhaps most surprisingly, we now know that Neanderthals and modern humans interbred.
Wait, what? We have Neanderthal DNA in us?
Yes,
I mean-
genetic studies have shown that people of non-African descent
Cool.
typically have about 1–4% Neanderthal DNA.
That's wild.
It's a reminder that we're not as different from them as we might think,
Right.
and that human evolution is a much more complex and interwoven story.
Than we once believed.
Great, that's a serious mind-blowing moment.
It is pretty amazing.
But what happened to the Neanderthals?
Right.
Why did they disappear?
Their disappearance around 40,000 years ago
Okay.
is one of the biggest mysteries in paleoanthropology.
Wow.
There are many theories,
Okay.
ranging from climate change to disease outbreaks,
Yeah.
to competition with modern humans.
Right.
It's likely a combination of factors
Yeah.
that led to their extinction.
A tragic end for a species that was so intelligent and resourceful.
You know,
But their legacy lives on,
it does.
not just in our DNA,
Right.
but also in our understanding of human evolution.
You're right. They were not just a side branch on our family tree. They were a significant part of our evolutionary story.
Yeah.
And their story continues to fascinate and challenge us.
I can't believe how much we've covered already.
Me neither.
From the adventurous journeys of Homo erectus, to the enigmatic hobbits of Flores,
Yeah.
to the complex and ultimately tragic story of the Neanderthals. It's been quite a journey.
And yet, the most crucial chapter is still to come.
Yes, it is.
The emergence of our own species, Homo sapiens,
Right.
and our journey to become the global species we are today. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've journeyed millions of years back in time, met our distant Australopithecine cousins, and witnessed the rise and fall of some truly remarkable Homo species.
It's been quite a ride.
Now it's time to focus on the star of the show,
Okay.
Homo sapiensis.
It's fascinating to consider how, out of all those diverse hominins, we are the only ones left standing.
I know, it's crazy, right?
Well-
What made Homo sapiens so successful?
Right.
What set us apart from the rest?
That is the million-dollar question.
Was it our big brains?
It could be.
Our ability to adapt? Our insatiable curiosity?
It's likely a combination of factors, but
Yeah.
one key element that distinguishes Homo sapiens is what we call behavioral modernity.
Behavioral modernity, it sounds so official. Break it down for me.
Okay.
What does it actually mean?
It refers to a suite of cognitive and behavioral traits that emerged in Homo sapiens,
Okay.
setting us apart from earlier hominins.
Right.
We're talking about things like abstract thinking, symbolic representation,
Okay.
complex language, sophisticated tool making,
Hmm.
and the ability to transmit knowledge and culture across generations.
So it's like our brains went into overdrive and we suddenly became capable of all these incredible things.
Well, not quite suddenly.
Okay.
It was a gradual process with roots stretching back to earlier Homo species.
Right.
But with Homo sapiens, we see a real explosion of creativity and innovation.
Give me some examples. What kind of evidence do we have for this behavioral modernity?
The archaeological record is bursting with evidence.
Such as?
We see a surge in the complexity and diversity of tools, the emergence of cave art and symbolic artifacts,
Okay.
the development of long-distance trade networks, and even evidence of rituals and belief systems.
Wow. So from cave paintings to trading networks,
Yeah.
our ancestors were really starting to leave their mark on the world.
They're-
What about language? Was that part of this behavioral leap forward?
Absolutely. Language is one of the cornerstones of behavioral modernity.
Right.
It allowed for complex communication, cooperation,
Huh.
and the sharing of knowledge and stories.
Right.
While we can't pinpoint exactly when language emerged,
Okay.
it's clear that it played a crucial role in our success as a species.
It's amazing to think about how language has shaped our world,
Yeah.
from our social interactions to our technological advancements to the very way we think and perceive reality.
You're right. It's a powerful tool that has connected humans across time and space,
Yeah.
allowing us to build civilizations, share ideas, and
Agree.
create art and literature.
Okay, so Homo sapiens emerges on the scene with all these amazing cognitive and behavioral abilities.
Yeah.
What happens next? How did we go from small groups of hunter-gatherers to the global species we are today?
Well, that's a story of migration, adaptation, and innovation.
Okay.
Homo sapiens spread out of Africa, venturing into new environments. Encountering new challenges and developing new technologies and social structures,
Right?
we adapted to different climates, learned to exploit new resources,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately populated every corner of the globe.
It's an incredible testament to our resilience and adaptability as a species.
I agree.
But it also makes me wonder about all those other hominins we met along the way.
Yeah.
What about the Neanderthals, the Denisovans, the hobbits?
Right.
Did they just vanish?
Their stories are complex and often intertwined with our own.
Okay.
While they may no longer exist as distinct species,
Right.
their DNA lives on in some modern human populations.
Wow.
A reminder of those ancient encounters and intermingling.
So it's not a simple linear progression,
Right.
but a much more complex and interwoven tapestry of human evolution.
Exactly. And as we continue to delve deeper into the mysteries of our past,
Yeah.
we're constantly uncovering new connections, challenging old assumptions,
Right.
and gaining a deeper appreciation for the diversity and interconnectedness of the human family.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Mine too.
We've covered so much ground, from the earliest Australopithecines to the emergence of Homo sapiens and our incredible journey to becoming a global species.
Right.
It's been a truly epic adventure.
It has indeed. And I hope it's left you with a sense of wonder and a desire to learn even more about this fascinating story.
Yeah,
After all, it's the story of us, of who we are and where we came from.
I couldn't agree more. So for all you listeners out there who are eager to dive deeper into human evolution,
Yes.
there are incredible resources available online in libraries and at museums. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep marveling at the incredible journey that brought us here.
And remember, the story of human evolution isn't over.
Right.
We are still evolving, adapting, and shaping the world around us. Who knows what fascinating chapters lie ahead?
That's a thought-provoking way to end our deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through the history of our species.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
This is your need to know.